Hi, this is Travis,
And this is Jonathan.
and we'd like to welcome you to the 100 Ways to Love a Cat podcast.
This is the podcast that eventually plays the song 100 Ways to Love a Cat.
And we do it every time. We're going to do it on this one. We've done it on all the previous episodes of this podcast. That's the function that it serves. We are at, and this is kind of an anniversary, because this is the 30th, the big 3-0 for us, 30th episode of the 100 Ways to Love a Cat podcast.
Not counting all the practice episodes we did before.
Oh, we did several hundred, what would you call it, trial runs or run-throughs, or on the theater it's called a tech rehearsal. That's in the live theater, but here I guess we just called them practice podcasts. It was the Travis and John in Practice, 100 Ways to Love a Cat practice podcast. And we recorded roughly anywhere from 100 to, we lost them all. They're all gone now, unfortunately. But
Travis?
yes.
Oh, sorry. I have a surprise for you, though.
Oh, a surprise.
Guess what I found
What's that?
on a cassette tape?
I don't know. Cassette tape. Let me think. Let me take a guess. What is
Nope.
that? Jones? What was that name?
Indiana
that band?
Jones.
No. The band, Mr. Jones.
Travis.
Mr. No. It was a J. It was a Mr. I just remember you having that on a cassette years and years ago when that was a thing. It was, what was the name of that band? It was Mr. Mr. No, it wasn't Mr. It was something with a J. Is that what it is, though?
Mr. J?
If it is, that's what it is. Would you read it to me what it is? Because I can't remember.
That would be great because I'd forgotten all about them. Mr. J.
That's correct.
They were local.
Oh, I believe they were, yes, because they put out local. Yeah, they were.
They
on
played
cassette
the
tape,
Powder Room all the time.
Yeah. That's true, Mr. J.
I was sort of a groupie.
I knew you were a fan. I didn't want to get all personal with it. I don't know. Groupie, that has connotations.
Mr. J. Well, no, not like a sex groupie, just a regular to the show.
Sometimes that's when people say that, people, that's what you think. That's not necessarily the case, and I didn't mean to accuse you of that.
I mean, I don't judge anyone. I just and it wasn't the kind of it wasn't that kind of show.
Oh,
I mean, half their songs were religious.
They did a lot of religious songs, if I remember.
Not overtly, but
about
the spirit,
angels.
Angels.
It was definitely about angels. A lot of them.
So I
songs
wasn't like all wound up at the end of the show. It was more like peaceful, and I feel in touch with all the different angels, because they had one whole album that just named different angels. Not like the one song was about Gabriel and one song. It was just like the whole thing was just names of angels.
Different, yeah.
The first song was 3 minutes of them naming all the angels, and then the second song was like 4:15 of them naming all the angels, and then the third song was a shorter, like a 2:20 of them. That was a single of them naming all the angels, and then like the end of side one was like a 20-minute song of them naming.
Now, were
all
they
the angels,
renaming them or just naming more of them?
Well,
Were
it
they-
depends
were they-
on the song.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think I heard. You were a big fan. I liked a couple of their songs.
I just realized that Mr. J probably stands for Mr. Jesus.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about that.
They were non-denominational, but they were all Christian.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I would guess so, yeah.
One was Catholic.
Mm.
But that's not what's on this tape. Although I gotta go through my boxes. And
Well,
find
I was
that.
getting all excited. I was like ready to hear some Angel songs. I thought maybe, when we get done here, we'd listen to a few Mr. J songs. But that's not what you have? What?
The hidden track. Do you remember CDs when they would have hidden tracks?
Absolutely. And that's the one thing I miss about CDs. I really do. All these downloads, you can't have a hidden download. That doesn't work.
That's a virus.
On a CD plays. And if it's a good CD, it helps you relax and helps you sleep. That's what a good CD is to me. And then you think it's over and you're asleep. And then oh my God, it wakes you up and it startles you at first. But then, this is a whole extra song that I was unaware of. It's a secret track.
Sometimes it would just be screaming Sometimes it would have a name. Sometimes they'd put it on there, like hidden track. And then, so it's not hidden. But I come to find out this one was called Bartholomew. Bartholomew was an angel too.
Bartholomew was an angel.
Bartholomew was an angel too.
Unfamiliar with that angel, as I'm not a Bible scholar. I think there's great wisdom to be found within the pages of the Bible, but I don't know all. I don't know if I know any angels. Is Saint Peter's an angel, right? He is.
He's administration.
Okay.
This was a good song. It was like, but now we've named all the angels, and you know those names are true. Something we left one out. Bartholomew was an angel too. It's a praise and worship song. They sing it in some churches.
It's like they forgot to mention him throughout the entire tape.
Like you were
or
waiting
CD.
for
CD, we said. It's a CD, but you have a tape with you. But anyhow.
One more. Well, I would record it. I didn't have a CD player in my car, so I had to record it from the CD, the boombox in my bedroom, put it on a cassette. Mm-hmm. So I could play it in my car when I went to work.
So it was still hidden, but okay. But
that was when I was married, and I only saw my wife at work because we worked together, but we decided to live apart. It was, high school sweetheart sort of thing.
I remember.
Where did that other angel go? I think his name was Bartholomew. Have you ever been to a church? I get so excited when I get drugged to church on Sundays and somebody plays. But they said, the song leaders, now we're going to sing Bartholomew was an angel too. And everyone said, the hidden track from Mr. J's.
They're aware of that. Mm-hmm. Okay.
They
had a big following. They did. They had a very big following around here. I could definitely see some. What are they doing now? Are they even?
They all passed away.
That's right.
It wasn't like a plane crash. It was like different ways, but very close to each other. It was almost as if they were being offed, like in a mystery. Like, well, now here comes the next member of Mr. J to get. But it was just various diseases.
It was tragic. I remember. Now that you mention that, they were within months and a few years apart. That's right.
Well, there was one
it was in the news.
Or the drummer, Mikey M, made it. You thought he made it. There was even an article in the zine that said Mikey M makes it, and he was like the last one. They all went by initials, Mr. J. So it was Mikey M.
Right.
Davey D.
Again, I don't know any of the angels because I don't study the Bible, and whether I should or shouldn't, I don't want to get into that. But I also don't know I didn't know the members that well. I was aware of the band. I was aware that they primarily sang songs about angels, and they were a local group, and I know people liked them. And then when you brought that up, I do recall that being in the news, like who's next, and Mr. J. Yeah,
and then Mikey M. Finally, it was like 2 years later. So I don't know. Some people argue, well, he shouldn't be counted, but I say, well, if they're all dead, you should count it. But he got tangled up in those sea vines and he drowned.
Jeez, tragic. You never know. You have to.
You know what? I don't know if I want to play this cassette right now because I feel like we were talking about all this sort of days gone by and all these deaths and diseases and sea vines. Let's save this for our next episode.
I don't know what it is, but that's fine. That's fine. We'll listen.
It'll be a cliffhanger. Well, what's going to happen? What are we going to do?
Sure.
What's on the cassette tape?
I'm hanging by the edge of my seat here. I can't wait until the next episode. But right now, let's get to.
I don't want to ruin it.
You haven't. If I eventually find out, my curiosity is up.
You can wait a week.
Sure, absolutely.
Did you see me wink?
No, I didn't.
You can wait a wink.
Oh, okay. A wink.
You can wait a wink. You can, though.
Here's 100 Ways to Love a Cat. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 1. Keep a tidy house for them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 2. Be be sure to clip their claws. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wave 3. Scoop their box daily. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wave 4. Brush them with a hairbrush. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wave 5. Don't squeeze their paws hard. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wave 6. Give them some fresh water. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wave 7. Let them have a fish. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wave 8. Buy them a scratching post. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wave 9. Put them in your lap. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wave 10. Be quiet when they're sleeping. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wave 11. Whisper, I love you. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wave 12. Rub their soft belly. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wave 13. Make sure their tail is clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wave 14. Give them a yarn ball. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wave 15. Make them a nice bed. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wave 16. Buy him some catnip. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wave 17. Play them some music. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 18. Get them a cute collar. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 19. Make sure they're vaccinated. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 20. Take their picture. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 21. Brush their teeth. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 22. Let them watch TV. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 23. Don't let them be outside by themselves. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 24. Feed them some cat food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 25. Make sure their eyes are clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 26. Put a liner in their box. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 27. Give them a mat to wipe their feet on. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 28. Don't forget them on Christmas. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 29. Make sure they're spayed or neutered. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 30. Hold them like a baby. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 31. Let them have a towel or blanket. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 32. Keep your toilet lid down. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 33. Don't let them chew on power cords. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 34. Set them by the window. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 35. Cat-proof your home. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 36. Change their litter weekly. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 37. Praise them lavishly. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 38. Never feed him chicken bones. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 39. Teach them a funny trick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 40. Give them a toy mouse. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 41. Clean up their hairballs. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 42. Keep them away from candles. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 43. Give him a separate zone. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 44. Never play with them aggressively. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 45. Increase his cuddle time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 46. Be sure to watch his weight. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 47. If you leave, turn on the radio. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 48. Scold him firmly but with kindness. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 49. Respond when he meows. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 50. Give them a thing of cat grass. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 51. Scratch under his chin. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 52. Remind him that you love him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 53. Give them a box to play in. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 54. If they're old, help them get down. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 55. Let them lick you with their rough tongue. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 56. Record precious memories. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 57. Dress them up in ribbons. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 58. Give them a flea treatment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 59. Make a vet appointment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 60. Give them a little wet food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 61. When they scratch you, don't get angry. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 62. Give them some private time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 63. treat them with respect. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 64. When he grooms himself, say good job. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 65. Let them chase a laser pointer. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 66. Clean out their ears. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 67. Never smoke around them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 68. Buy a sturdy cat carrier. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 69. Listen to them purr. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 70. Dented by temptations. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 71. Give them your full attention. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 72. Don't trap them in the laundry basket. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 73. Let them sleep in bed with you. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 74. Make sure they're not locked in the closet. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 75. Don't let them play in plastic bags. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 76. Give them a massage. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 77. Touch him as you pass by. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 78. If he's on the couch, don't be mad. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 79. If they hate fans, turn the fan off. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 80. When there's a bird outside, say, hey, look! 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 81. Intrigue them with a funny sound. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 82. Don't forget sardine time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 83. Let him play with your old socks. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 84. Stroke in the direction that his fur goes. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 85. Admire his long whiskers. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 86. Keep his box away from his food. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 87. Pretend that he's a piano. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 88. Don't interrupt them while they're eating. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 89. When they're scared, go and comfort them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 90. Let him have a lick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 91. If their breath stinks, give them greenies. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 92. Give him a ball with a bell in it. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 93. If it's hot, put ice in their bowl. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 94. Let him drink out of the sink. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 95. Don't vacuum if it scares him. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 96. Draw a picture of him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 97. If you drop some food, it's theirs now. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 98. Read him a book. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 99. Feed him again. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 100. Just love them every day. 100 loving ways. 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 And there it is. 100 Ways to Love a Cat.
Still get so happy when I hear that.
Well, it's my favorite song.
Do you remember, new listeners may not know that Travis and I wrote that song together.
And I know it seems a little vague, like, oh, it's my favorite song, and I wrote it, and it's my favorite song. But it is my favorite song. If somebody else had written it, I would love it just as much. It's not all about me.
But
make that clear.
There were parts of it, though, just to talk about inspiration, where we said, well, who do we want to listen to soak up their talent and pour it into this mold that we created? And for me, a lot of it was Mr. J.
You were a big fan of it, and you kept stressing. And to be honest, they were popular around here, but you brought that to my attention. I didn't know a whole lot about. I did read not much anything about Mr. J. I did not see them locally, and maybe once you drugged me to something or other. But you were insistent that I listen, and I did. I think
and
I
you said
I gave
no.
an effort.
You
No.
said
No. After a while, I said I basically said it wasn't so much no. It was I think I've heard enough, and I liked it, and it's fine. But some things appeal to some people, and some things to others, and I think that you have brought an essence or an attitude or something along that nature of Mr. J to this, and I think it's great. I think it's good in the mix.
You just absorb a lot of things,
sure,
whether you want to or not.
That's absolutely true. But I think if I were, the dynamic would be a little off. Personally, this is what I think. If I were as much of a fan of Mr. J as you are.
Well, it didn't really. In the end, I think there was some Mr. J in me that I sort of spurted out as we were doing this. Mm-hmm. But we found plenty of other bands that we took inspiration from, like Lamborghino.
Well, that's another that
Treetop Hustlers.
These are a lot of bands you played me. Yes,
but I thought these are ones we kind of bonded over and connected with. I think, right?
Well, I mean, we listened to them. You were adamant about playing them, and I wouldn't necessarily listen to an entire album, which let me say right now, and then this is not to come at you, Jonathan, and this is anybody. If you want if you want to share some music that means a lot to you, share a song. But when you sit someone down, like, I need 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes of your time, and you're going to give it to me, whether you like it or not. So listen up, and here it is. I'm playing it right now. That is not the way, because if you play a song and it clicks, you know what? I'm going to say, hey, play another one of those songs from that whatever particular band you're playing.
Well, by that theory, the radio stations would just play one song at a time until somebody called them up and said, keep going.
Well, I think that's what radio stations primarily do, is play. They don't play. I mean, sure, they have a special weekend thing. We're going to play the whole Pink Floyd album or whatever it is.
That's true. They mix it up. That's what I should have done. I think you're talking about when I tried to play you Fuzz Whistle, and I thought. Well,
other things too.
The good thing about Fuzz Whistle was when we were listening to that album, I called it a listening party. I realized that it wasn't a good fit.
Well, different strokes for different folks. Everybody has different preferences, but I do want to stress this. One thing that we both do love, and there's no question about it, is 100 Ways to Love a Cat. That's the song that we're 100% on board. I'm pretty sure that we feel the same way about it, regardless of what influences you think may have helped it. Take it or leave that. But that is a song that Jonathan and I can agree on, and we hope that all of you can agree on, and maybe we'll agree on this mystery tape, whatever it may be. We're going to play next week. I'm excited to find out.
I know what it is, what's on there, and you're going to be excited.
Well,
but I also wish there's.
If it's Fuzz Whistle, I don't know if that would be exciting to me. I just want to make that clear.
It's not Fuzz
Whistle. It would be
Whistle.
fine. It would be like a nostalgic trip.
I don't even like them anymore.
Okay. So it's not Fuzz Whistle. Okay.
It's not Rolo Hole.
It's not Rolo Hole. It's not fine. Well, we'll find out next week. Thank you so much for listening to 100 Ways to Love a Cat and listening to us talk about other things that Jonathan has listened to and tried to make me listen to in the past. And next week, I guess we'll be listening to something that I don't know what it is
You're
yet.
going to like it.
All right, I'm looking forward to it.
This is going to be one of those you like.
Let's hope every listener that we have enjoys it as well.